Shabbath, Shalom, Sabbath peace, Shalom, Laha Alahayim, peace to the gods, Nawathan, Kal, Halalim La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash, giving all praises to Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit, double honors unto the elder apostles, elder bishops, and the head elders, Slakia, of all the camps of Great Millstone GMS who do well, who I've learned this 100% truth from, who are the true leaders of all Israel today, if you can receive it. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the Bayath, the Wada, the Tabernacle of David being risen up in these last days, the predestined spirits of election scattered abroad. This is your brother Tazapanya with a spiritual commentary of the DC branch of the Great Millstone through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Adawan Ratazah, Lord willing. This digital epistle is edifying to the elect. So, October surprise. So while Lebanon out there in ancient Tyre, in Zidon, right, getting bombed the shit out of them by Amalek, and then you got the diddler distractions from what's happening in West Asia right now. All right, you got a lot of shit going on behind the scenes regarding this financial global market. I'll put it that way. All right, because as the least of the flock is drawn out, literally happened today. Babylon, Jeremiah 51. Okay, the Pentagon just said that they sent U.S. Babylonian troops to the Valley of Yehoshaphat. Okay, so it's jumping off the pages right now. But as that's going on, as all of this stuff over here is a distraction for that, we know that more rumors of wars. That's what I was going to title this. Rumors of wars equals an economic collapse. How? Because we know through the parting of the times, the prophecies lined up what has to come before the Lord judges the nations over there in Armageddon. Okay, the mountain of troops from all these countries being in the Arabian desert. Okay, the Levant region, which is this system we have now, which is old, moving out the way so that they can come in with the digital system, which is going to be the payment transactions on the MOTB. So without further ado, this is Verson Aljara. All right, he be with the Digital Outlook, the Money Channel, I think, one of them. So we're gonna listen to 9 minutes. You know, if y'all listen to my videos, y'all know how I do. I'm really big on it because I'll be watching, bro. I'll be listening, I'll be watching. You know, Lord willing, the Lord keep that watchman spirit on me. All right. And it's just so crazy about what's about to happen. And there's no coincidence, all right, that they doing it during the selection process. So 2025 going to be a hell of a year. So we're going to get some scriptures after they talk, but I want y'all to listen up. So let me turn it up. I like to turn it up to 44 for mercy, because that's what we looking for, man. I'm going to turn up to 44 on the TV, and let's do it. Salakia.
And
for many decades.
Come on.
Who won it?
You see that? That's Satan, bro.
so it does preserve. And to this gentleman's, again, at the end,
we're
Salakia.
what I would describe.
actually an idiot, to your point, Vandel.
For many decades, the dollar has been the reserve currency. And the system is what I would describe as long in the tooth. And the central bankers are trying to bring in a new system, but it's not ready to go yet. And what we're we're in a period of great change and uncertainty where the central bankers are trying to keep the dollar system going and accelerate. So they're trying to lengthen the dollar system, and then they're trying to accelerate bringing in the new system. So I described
That woman on your screen was Catherine Fitz. Catherine Fitz is the one who broke the news, as she used to be. She was an insider working with the government and then started her own little entrepreneur type thing. You feel me? But she was in like somewhere, I don't know if it was a secretary, treasury, some shit. But she was the one that broke out and said that the U.S. Navy with DARPA is working with Ripple, which its coin is XRP, right, in Denmark to create a microchip that is compatible with Ripple technology. And Ripple is the #1 infrastructure distributed ledger technology crypto company that's working with all central banks to create their own to give them the infrastructure, selling infrastructure for them to create their own CBDCs.
the new system is the end of currencies. So we're not bringing in a new currency. We're essentially bringing in a new transaction system that will be all digital and essentially end currencies as we know them. So what they're trying to do is
right, because they can't. A currency is something that you use to, trade in value, something that is backed upon something. So remember, they want to be like the Most High. All right, the Most High's, currency, so to speak, was cattle, land, gold, silver, things of that nature. They can't create that, so they're trying to create something artificial to try to take. So it's nothing new. It's the same thing, but on a different platform where they can have more control.
Involves essentially all the money on the planet.
They are
Essentially all the money on the planet. You heard that? Let's bring that back.
It will be all digital and essentially end currencies as we know them. So what they're trying to do involves essentially all the money on the planet.
They are purposely destroying the currency system, this system. Yep. And indeed, there will be a transition to a digital system. There is no question about that whatsoever. I guess the only question is, what does that look like? And how does it unfold? Is it done in an orderly fashion, or is it done in a chaotic fashion? And I think the only way that you can transition, at least in this country, to a central bank digital currency or to a digital system will be one through chaos, where people have to experience some sort of pain in order to come in and accept a new system. As much as you guys understand digital currencies and a digital platform, most people in this country have no idea, would be terrified by it, would be afraid by it, would be told that it's the end of our privacy, etc. And I think that's how they will implement it. It would be some sort of a move. I mean, all of the things that we are doing, you guys, to incentivize the world to dump dollars, as I've talked about with you before, it's accelerating, weaponizing of the dollar, confiscating $5 billion in Russian reserves here in this country and giving them in the form of, giving it to the Ukraine, the country in the midst of a war against, much in the form of weaponry, creating $100,000 of debt per second, or $1 trillion every 100 days. It took 200 years to do it the first time, having massive divisiveness in this country, lawlessness, open border.
So notice how they said they're creating $100,000 of debt every second. You can't compute that in your mind. All right. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him? Who is him? Esau, Edom, man. All right. Specifically the international banking families, which is of the tribe of Amalek. All right. Your small hats. It says in a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. You see? Because he's doing it by deception. This is why the kingdom shall be translated from one people to another. For in righteous dealings and riches got by deceit. Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. Right? It says, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that's what we asking. How long? Really, we asking the Father for him to shorten the days. How long you gonna have this devil completely have us in debt, man? taxing the shit out of us. You see what I'm saying? All this going on, inflation getting crazy, and it's going to get worse, and we know it. You see what I'm saying? And that thick clay in the Hebrew is ibatyat, which is heavy debt. So they compounding heavy debt unto themselves. You see, and they know that through this experiment that it was going to come to an end. So they're trying to put themselves in a position, right, where they're going to be the winners at the death of the cycle of the world reserve currency, which is the fiat USD.
Questions about the integrity of our judicial system and our electoral system. Everything we are doing is incentivizing this, which brings me back to Jared Bernstein, the lead economic advisor to this country, who many of you have watched try to explain money creation. And
Bernstein, what name does that sound like? The lead economic advisor in the country.
And bond sales on Twitter was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life. And this is the guy that's the lead economic advisor of the country, a man who has a degree in music and a master's degree in social work, who advocates for the removal of the world reserve status. That it is a privilege we could no longer afford. Heck, even Vance, Trump's running mate, says having the world reserve currency may not be such a good thing after all. Both of the candidates, they're talking about low interest rates and a weak dollar, which is the worst thing that we can do. So we are moving towards a reset, and I think Trump understands that. But we are moving towards a reset where the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency, or at least not in its current fashion. And everything we are doing is incentivizing this because, you know, little boys and girls who grew up around the world idolizing this country, wanting to wear Levi's jeans and come here and enjoy the freedom and listen to rock and roll and do the things that we have been privileged to do in this country. Well, if that was the case, I think we could probably pull ourselves up from this mess that we're in and try and fix it. But you look around and see what's happening in this country on a larger scale, and the people around the world are saying, what the hell's happening in this country? And so you put it together with massive, horrible monetary policy, brain dead monetary policy, incredibly irresponsible fiscal policy, and then the lawlessness and the open borders and the elections and the judicial system, all of this stuff where, you know, half the world is thinking, I don't know if it's legit anymore. And then we're 123% debt to GDP. When I was young in this business, you guys, I've been doing this for 35 years in February. It'll be 35 years. But when I was young in this business, if you're over 100% debt to GDP, you're a banana republic, especially if you have questions surrounding your elections and around your judicial system. And now, I mean, we fit the model of a banana republic, and you add into it all this nonsense we're doing around the world, we're going to experience a reset. And that's why you see the biggest money in the world, the central banks, going out of their way to strike contracts for other forms of trade and settlement, which would supersede or get rid.
Notice he said everybody's looking at our selection cycle, everything that's going on. They laughing basically. And like he learned in his, you know, college or whatever, that you a banana republic, which he's using, you know, how would you use that? Like a figure of speech of, you know, the clothing line to like some monkey, you know how they'll say a kangaroo court when you get railroaded in Esau's justice system. A banana republic is like one that claims to be a democratic republic, but it's just nothing but animal, you know, jungle monkey business going on and not keeping their own laws. So this is Habakkuk 2:16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Yeah, they was used to glorify in their electoral college process and the democratic system and way of America and blah, blah. And it's shameful spewing, man. Nobody give a fuck about Babylon.
Of the intermediary system, the SWIFT system, to sidestep it, to sidestep the Western hegemony. That's why you're seeing all of these countries go on a massive buying spree of commodities and stand for delivery. And the only reason they're not bitching right now about the Western manipulation is that they are using the manipulation against us in every single commodity. And it's not just precious metals. China just bought the LME, the London Metals Exchange, which are all the base metals, the
That's
copper, the
crazy.
zinc, and now they're building warehouses in China to stockpile them. And all of the deals they're striking through the Belt Road, 150 plus countries, the majority of them are resource rich and underdeveloped. So they build the infrastructure and they pull the commodities out of the ground to industrialize these countries, to make them wealthy and to take a piece of it. And at the same time, we're focused on a bunch of nonsense in this country. So the rest of the world sees what's happening and they are methodically, slowly repositioning away from the West. So yeah, it's never been more important. And here we are, less than a month away from the big BRICS meeting, where another 59 countries have formally applied to it, where they've already agreed in principle to a new settlement currency called the unit, traded over Project mBridge, which is not compatible to the dollar, which Saudi Arabia just became a full participant in, and saying that the unit token, which we've agreed in principle, and Dilma Rousseff, by the way, is no small chimp. She's the former president of Brazil and the head of the BRICS New Development Bank. Yes, in principle, we've agreed to this new settlement system, which will be 40% gold-backed and redeemable. All of the things that you're talking about are happening. Now, I have a question for you, all right, because this is something that I want to try and understand. And maybe if anyone can answer it, it's you guys. And I have much respect for the research you guys do. And I know very, very well how much research you guys have done. Just in what you've sent me over the last few years, I know how
hear this now.
All right, so Delma says we're going to use Project mBridge, which is a cross-border payment system that evades, if you will, SWIFT and allows these countries to trade with one another using CBDCs outside the realm of the West. It was designed and developed by China, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the UAE. Interesting, the UAE, of course, has just joined the BRICS along with the other countries that were admitted here last year. They're the 7th largest producer of oil in the world. They're an OPEC country that said we don't want to take dollars for oil anymore just a few months ago. They're a big player. And now you have Saudi Arabia sign on as a full participant. Huge deal. Dilma Rousseff says that this new unit token will trade over Project mBridge. Explain to me, where does XRP fit into Project mBridge? Does it have a role with Project mBridge?
This document from the Bank of International Settlements talks about Project mBridge and that the Saudi Central Bank is a full participant in Project mBridge. We got the same document talking about Russia as well, very similar to this one. Now, in 2018, we got a document like this. Saudi Arabia Central Bank signs blockchain deal with Ripple. The thing is, what people need to understand is that there's no political bias for the digital asset XRP. I can, of course, go on forever about it.
Well, no, I mean, maybe that's the moment that everyone has been waiting for regarding XRP and Ripple Labs and whatnot, because, look, we're less than a month away from this meeting where she did say that indeed they've agreed in principle. And supposedly sometime in the next week, there is a meeting in China to help ratify this and then bring it to the big meeting in October. But there's no question in my mind that something like this is coming. And, it's one of these deals that we'll wake up on a Monday morning and see a new reality.
You see, at any point in time, this shit could just change. Any point in time, wake up to a new reality. You see what I'm saying? So next week, there's supposed to be some type of ratification, basically an unrighteous decree, right? Dealing with the BRICS nations and with China. And then in October, there's a meeting in Russia, Salakia, dealing with all of the new applications with all these countries. And look what he's about to say. He should be saying that's when Project Sandman's supposedly going to come into play.
Like the way that the yen collapsed, the carry trade collapsed on a Sunday night, Monday morning, you wake up to a new reality. There are those that call that Project Sandman or the night of the switch, where all of a sudden everyone dumps dollars in U.S. treasuries and a new system unfolds. Maybe it comes on the heels of the big meeting in October. You
see, now that's the point. I'm gonna run it back. Could that be the October surprise? Right? That right before the elections, in the month of the rituals of these, witches and warlocks, October, right? And I really hate October too, because everywhere you drive around, neighbors, all these Edomites and shit got all type of goblins and ghouls and shit in their yard, thinking that shit cool. Fucking hate that shit. But whatever, that's why the Lord gonna destroy this place. But in October, after they could all the nations they be coming together in Russia and be like, yup, that's when we sending all the US Treasury bonds. Phew, the switch, phew, digital, phew, 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 all of these, and it's swift like this. You see? And this is why we gotta constantly keep our head on a swivel. On a swivel. The scriptures say that. Be circumspect. What is circumspect? Keep your head on a swivel. All right, constantly looking, obviously, with your spiritual eye, all right, but a 360 awareness, all right, you know, of everything that's going on, physically, mentally, spiritually, with you. You see what I'm saying? As a body of a Mashayak Yahushai, you know. So let me run that back.
New reality, much like the way that the and Ripple Labs and whatnot, because, you know, look, we're less than a month away from this meeting where she did say that indeed they've agreed in principle, and supposedly sometime in the next week there is a meeting in China to help.
Now I was just watching the priest Amawanga Bar. This week the UN is meeting for a whole week in New York. Out there in New York, they having a whole meeting. All right, and like he was saying, he posted, you know, the RZA talking about that whole brick shit, right? And now I'm doing a video regardless, because, you know, I was going to do this regardless, you know, according to the Lord's will through the Spirit. Been planning to do it, Slakia, all day. When I was listening to this earlier, I was like, oh, nah, they going in right now. They going crazy, because people don't have no idea that this shit in like less than 45 days can just, you know, when I say shit hit the fan, meaning like he said, like in the Japanese back when they went to the yen, you just on a Sunday night they put the laws in, Monday morning the whole system changed like a light switch. You understand what I'm saying? Run it back one more time.
Way from this meeting where she did say that indeed they've agreed in principle, and supposedly sometime in the next week there is a meeting in China to help ratify this and then bring it to the big meeting in October. But there's no question in my mind that something like this is coming, and you know, it's one of these deals that we'll wake up on a Monday morning and see a new reality, much like the way that the yen collapsed, the carry trade collapsed on a Sunday night, Monday morning, you wake up to a new reality. There are those that call that Project Sandman or the night of the switch, where all of a sudden everyone dumps dollars in U.S. treasuries and a new system unfolds. Maybe it comes on the heels of the big meeting in October where they come out and say, we've agreed to a new payment system. You know, they talk about the BRICS bridge, which is mBridge, and they talk about the common unit of account, which is the unit. But they also came out and said that they're issuing something called a settlement depository called BRICS Cleared. I think that might be what you're talking about, where they're using blockchain to record securities and exchange them. Question is, are they going to use securities the same way as they will, or in the same vein as they would stablecoin? That I'm not quite sure. But to your point, and I think to this whole discussion, we are moving to a system that is moving away from traditional forms of settlement, traditional forms of currency, and the game is changing. And I think kind of like a roll of toilet paper that gets close to the end and you start to see it spinning faster and you start to see the cardboard, we're less than 2 months away from these kinds of things being made real. And I don't know that it happens in October, but I think we're getting much closer than we've ever been to all of your work and all of your research really bearing fruit for everyone to see in real time.
Well, you know what's interesting, Andy? So there's a few different digital assets that have most likely been chosen and backed by, call it what you want, the cabal, the big money, the intelligence agencies, kind of like they did during the dot-com era when the internet was becoming a thing. You know, you have CIA money behind Google, some other big companies out there, and they came out of Silicon Valley. They were just chosen, given enough money to keep failing and failing until they were profitable. And now they're the biggest companies in the world. And Palantir is another example. But specifically on Ripple, this is interesting. And you've probably seen this in the past, but I think it's more relevant today than it ever was before. So the World Bank, okay, the parent company of the World Bank is the United Nations.
Did you just hear that? And if if the priest Amawanga Bar is listening, bro, the way this shit is linking up is crazy. The parent to the World Bank is the UN, which he just said is having a meeting in New York City, in Manhattan. I think they even Manhattan. Because I was about to do they might have a branch in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, but I think in Manhattan for a whole week. You see what I'm saying? But look what he about to say.
Right, the World Bank in Washington, D.C. In 2021, they published a report, and they specifically, in that report, which was over 90 pages, I think it was page 31 or something like that, where they specifically talked about the use case for moving value for two digital assets they were speaking about in great detail. The first was XRP, and the second was XLM. This came out of the World Bank. Interestingly,
There you go.
oh, yes, yes. And what's extremely interesting here is a lot of people get this misconception that, oh, the stable coin is going to replace the digital asset, XRP or XLM, whatever. But no, that's incorrect. The stable coin's task is to connect. It's designed for institutional use to connect traditional finance to the future of finance.
The bridge.
Yes, it's a bridge. The digital asset, which is specifically designed for liquidity purposes, is designed to move and facilitate value and liquidity instantly. So the state
Instantly. What he's saying, for those that doesn't understand, the financial terms, and I'm learning every single day. All right. But notice you can't really see it, but it says stable coins for cross-border payment. Anytime you hear cross-border or interoperability, think about Ripple, XRP. And they're the first ones that is regulated by the government under the ISO 20022 standardization protocols. So instead of running away, trying to think that they're decentralized like Bitcoin, which was created by the NSA and the CIA to get you onto the blockchain to get used to it, all right, so that you'll be set up for the CBDCs or the stable coins, because it's literally all programmable tokens. Either way, it's all leading up to the MOTB, and the October surprise could be when we see the real-time workings of switching over to the system.
Stablecoin has its own place, and the digital asset XRP and XLM have their place in the center of the system to move the value back and forth. So
we talking about billions, hundreds of billions of dollars can literally get transferred from one place to another in milliseconds. Do you understand that? You feel me? When you pay a bill, it takes 3 business days for it to come out of your account from all of the automatic clearing houses in different banks for them to verify that shit. You see what I'm saying? We coming into a time, and what's the name from Christopher Green? He was like, yo, this blockchain shit is run off of AI. We in a world where people don't even know that these governments are using quantum processing computers. Computers that can do answer trillions of questions, of complex questions in a matter of seconds, man, or milliseconds. Quantum. This devil, he's wiser than Daniel, as the scriptures say, man, and he think that he God. and he's got to be stopped.
The thing is, there's only 100 billion XRP in existence. It cannot be created.
So that's it. I'm done with this. But the point, I'm gonna leave it at the end. Point. October surprise. Keep your eyes on the next 45 days, man. All right. This is not a time like the elder Damasha Pot said, to have no doubt spirit. You need to rebuke all that type of shit. These next weeks, man, is some of the most important weeks, all right, in this God-forsaken land that we're in, polluted land that we in, man. All right. And we don't have dogs in this fight. So let these niggas do what they do. All right. We just got to do what the Lord tells us we supposed to be doing. Us of the prophets, we prophesy. Okay. Constantly. As we watching and praying and having faith on Yahweh Shah. All right. And again, now Ripple, they have a contract with the U.S. Navy, which I understand as admirable maritime law, to work with the whole world on a legalese, secrecy type of system that is making a compatible microchip with the #1 regulated U.S. CBDC, stablecoin, crypto, whatever you want to use for it, man. Either way, all these rumors of wars, this collapse is coming first, and it's coming swiftly, man. So with that, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom, Sabbath peace. On to the next one. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham, everybody tuning in. Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Kolo Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. On to the next one. Shalom.